All right, hi again. We've been doing some programming using the new API in Howler. I've just basically set up a blank project, created a reference to Dog Waffle, and I made an instance of the Dog Waffle class. Uh, just all I have to type is D. I don't have to type Dog Waffle out anymore, just as a time saver. All right, even though that is kind of globally available to us. Um, let's start a new project. Let's do something again with vectors because I believe my last tutorial got corrupted, and I'm going to start pretty much from scratch and just do a thing using a bouncing ball, but let's do it a little more involved, maybe create a couple dozen bouncing balls. All right, so we're going to use a force, a vector, and a position. So let's create those as a new vector class, position, vector as new VB vector, and force as new VB vector. All right, position. Let's make it a random. Let's see. I know what we can do. We've got a vector, so we could probably create. It's a random. Er, let's see what that does. Let's see. No parameters. That probably creates something between 0 and 1. Uh, no. Let's keep position the way it is now. Let's keep the position at 0. Let's start with the vector and create a random vector. Or let's see, random hemisphere maybe. Let's see what random does. All right, and we want a random vector that'll shoot our vector off in a random direction. Let's see, we want to start this in the middle of the screen, so I'm going to use. Let's see, we're using a drawing object, so I'll create a. Let's see, I don't want to use D, so I'll use something else. We'll use dr as new VB drawing. DDR dot translate, and we'll go to the halfway to the middle. Let's see, width 1 by 2, comma height 1 over 2. I've defined width and heights above. So there you go. All right, we created a vector. We want a position. Position will be at 0, so we don't have to worry about that. And we want to start a loop. Let's just do like 200, and we'll do something inside the loop. All right, so we'll take that position, we'll add the vector to it, and we'll take, before we do that, we'll add the force to the vector. Vector dot add force. You got that? Simple, right? Um, those are the objects. Those are the vector objects we created. And then all we have to do is draw that somewhere. So we'll do dr dot circle. We'll just do a ellipse. Position, yeah, position dot x, comma, position dot y, comma, radius. All right. We have to put these inside of a drawing thingy. Let's see, dr dot begin draw. Wanted to describe this. There's a parameter to begin draw, but that's really for our internal use as an HTC. That will not work through COM, so just ignore that. HTC is a hardware device context, and since plugins are in separate memory address spaces, that's not going to work for plugin development. It's something we use internally. All right, so I'll go to end draw, and that's. Is there anything else we want to do? We want to do a refresh. Oops, that should be that. All right, so not sure entirely what we've created here. Let's see what happens, anyways. Need one more parameter. I always forget this. Okay, so we created a drawing of something that's moving. At least it's got a vector. We forgot to define what force is, so let's put force dot y equals Downward motion will be that. All right, so there's definitely moving downwards. Remember we created a random. Let's see. I want to make that random bigger, so we'll multiply it by a scalar value. A scalar value is a single value instead of another vector. Say 10, so it'll be going a random value times 10, basically, is what we're doing there. All right, so you got a big, big arc. Remember, we created this as a random, so it's going in different directions each time we run it. We don't have to do it that way. We can do it that way. Now I want to create a bunch of these bouncing balls. Or it's not bouncing yet, but we'll put that in there in a few minutes. First, let's clear the screen. Dog clear something or other. Clear buffer. All right. There we go. It's bouncing off there. Now let's create a bunch of these. Let's see what happens. Let's see. We'll probably want to put these in an array. So when we come back, we'll do these in an array. But let's go ahead and take care of the let's take care of that bouncing in there. So we're going to check for here. We're going to check for if let's see, the position is greater than a certain value. Remember, we're starting at the center, but the center is actually 0 as far as our program knows. We're going to do something above that, like 100 or 50 maybe. If p is greater than 50, then we'll do something about it. P dot position dot y equals 50. We don't want it to go below 50, so we'll do that. And we'll also change the vector. Vector dot y times equals, equals vector dot y. Forgot this VB does not do the times equals thing. All right. Let's see, times -1. We're just going to reverse it. See what happens. Whoops. What did I do? Vector position. What was it complaining about? All right, p dot, here we go, dot y. My bad. All right, it's not going to show up there because it's going up. Going up. There we go. We got our bouncing ball. All right, do you understand what we're doing here? We're just checking y for going over a certain value. If it is, we make sure it doesn't go over that value, because if we did, even if we reverse this, it might still think it's below this value. It'd get stuck in the ground. It'd be continually going up and down instead of bouncing like that. It'll be continually stuck in the ground plane. All right, so that's why we put that p equals 50 there. It keeps it from going under the ground. Then we simply reverse that. Instead of using -1, though, let's use -0.9. That way it'll lose some energy and the bounce will get smaller each time. Does that all make sense? All right, so anyways, we've demonstrated that we have a bouncing ball. When we come back, we'll do an array of bouncing balls. All right.